I know it has been a while since I've done an Operation Protect the White Boy style video on my channel, especially since, I've changed the upload format with my channel as far as going from 3 videos a day to 1 video a day. By the way, I would love to hear y'all feedback of how y'all feel about the 1 video a day down in the comment section. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the latest entry into Operation Protect the White Boy, and that is this person right here on the left by the name of Timothy Kennedy. Now, Timothy Kennedy is 29 years old, and he murdered Sergeant Corey Maynard, who was the guy on the right, in what they call an ambush style attack. But as you can see, they did rough Timothy up a little bit. Usually they'll take them in unscathed with no markers or anything, but it's very evident that he got hands and probably other type of weapons put on him, like from ear to ear, like his ears messed up, his face messed up, his nose is probably fractured, and his other ears messed up, his lips messed up, like his eyes, all of that. But it's still Operation Protect the White Boy because he's still alive, even after he murdered a cop, a PC cop at that. Let's go ahead and see what they're talking about in this article from WSAZ. The man accused of shooting and killing a West Virginia state police trooper was arraigned in Mingo County on Saturday morning. Trooper says 29-year-old Timothy Kennedy shot and killed Sergeant Corey Maynard in an ambush-style attack when Maynard was responding to a call for shots fired along Beach Creek Road near Matawan, in Mingo County. Kennedy was taken into custody just before 11 p.m. on Friday. And by the way, this article was posted June 3rd, 2023. He was processed at the Williamson Detachment of the West Virginia State Police before being taken to the Southwestern Regional Jail in Holden, which is in Logan County. Kennedy was arraigned via video just after 10 a.m. Saturday in the Mingo County Courthouse in Williamson. During the arraignment, Magistrate Jim Harvey told Kennedy bail would be set in circuit court. A preliminary hearing has not yet been set, but it must occur within 10 days, according to Magistrate Harvey. Kennedy is not allowed to leave the state without first getting permission. He told Magistrate Harvey he has an income of $20,000 per month. Kennedy did not answer Harvey when he was asked what the source of income was. Now that's questionable. Well, not questionable. It is what do you do for a living where you're earning $20,000 per month? That's a lot of money to be earning. And this is a very rare case because usually you'll never hear someone just blurt out what type of income they make. But if I was the judge, I would want to know, what the hell do you do for a living to make that kind of money per month? That's not everyday income for a collective. This is not the first time Kennedy has been in trouble before. WSAZ reported back in 2020 that Kennedy had been trespassing in a closed Mingo County mine. He was reported missing by a family member and was later found alive. The mine had not produced any coal for nearly a decade at that point. Rescuers found evidence of copper removal during their search. Crews found Kennedy more than half a mile into the mine. Well, that was that article, but I wanted to read from another more recent updated article that goes into a little bit more detail because, like I said, that one was posted on June 3rd. Now, this next one that I'm reading from is posted on June 5th. So, of course, they have a little bit more information. It says the suspect in a Friday shooting in Mingo County, West Virginia, is under arrest and charged with first-degree murder in the death of a veteran trooper who responded to the scene near Matawan. According to West Virginia State Police, Sergeant Corey Maynard, age 37, was one of the troopers who responded to the 4200 block of Beach Creek Drive on Friday afternoon after suspect Timothy David Kennedy allegedly shot and wounded 39-year-old Benjamin Adam Baldwin with a rifle for reasons not yet known. Though Baldwin was listed in stable condition after being taken to the hospital, Maynard was fatally wounded by gunfire and did not survive despite life-saving efforts. West Virginia Metro News reported that Maynard was an organ donor. Kennedy, who turned 29 in April, now faces the possibility of life in prison after being charged with first-degree murder in the death of Sergeant Maynard, who had served as a trooper since 2007. Maynard, a husband and father of 2, was honored over the weekend by local first responders who were deeply saddened by his death. He was also remembered by friends as one of the good ones and as someone who will be dearly missed. A GoFundMe campaign started to help support the trooper's wife and children, said that his personality and love for life and laughs was contagious. If his life's path crossed yours, your life was undoubtedly better for, the GoFundMe said. More than $42,000 has been raised as of Monday morning. Timothy Kennedy was visibly covered in bruises after his Friday night arrest several hours after Maynard and Baldwin were shot. More than 100 law enforcement officers were involved in the search that led to his capture. And they were probably some of the ones that did that to him. He was arraigned before a magistrate judge on Saturday morning. Southwestern Regional Jail records show that Kennedy was booked at 1:50 a.m. on Saturday, and there is currently no bail listed, as there shouldn't be. West Virginia Governor Jim Justice said Friday that he was absolutely heartbroken by Maynard's death. I am absolutely heartbroken tonight to report that Sergeant Corey Maynard of the West Virginia State Police was fatally wounded in an incident this afternoon near Matawan. Kathy and I share our deepest sympathies and our heartfelt prayers to all of the troopers, Maynard's loved ones, and the entire law enforcement community of West Virginia for this tragic loss tonight. The governor then ordered state and U.S. flags to be flown at half staff. Mingo County, aka Bloody Mingo, and neighboring Logan County were the coal country home of the Hatfield family of Hatfields and McCoy blood feud fame. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear called Maynard a hero who sacrificed everything, noting that the slain law enforcement officer was from the Bluegrass State, Pike County, where the McCoys hailed from historically. Sergeant Maynard was from Pike County here in Kentucky, and his loss is felt by so many, the governor said. I asked all of the Commonwealth to join Brittany and me in praying for his family, fellow law enforcement officers, in all of West Virginia. So I wanted to read that one because it went into a little bit more detail. We find out that this Timothy Kennedy guy is now charged with first-degree murder. He tried to kill somebody else. It was ambush style, which was stated in the other one. It talks about the GoFundMe for the cops, how much money it was raised. So like I said, it goes into a little bit more detail. Also, one of the more important parts is that he does not have a bond. Like I kind of figured that he wouldn't, considering the optics of this case. But still, at the end of the day, even with all of the visible bruising that this guy got, and they gave him one hell of a beating, and it's going to take some time for his face to heal, he's still alive. He's still very much alive. He's still very much breathing. That is the whole point of the Operation Protect the White Boy. It's not enough that when they do stuff like this or get into these situations and they just simply get beat up or tapped a little bit. Some don't even get touched at all, as we've seen in previous entries. It's the fact that they can do all of that and still be taken in alive. And another reason I do these type of videos too is because you have a lot of the usual suspects in their co-colonizing cohorts that try to tell black people, if you don't resist, if you just comply, if you just obey, then they won't mess with you. This guy did all of the stuff they tell us not to do, and he ended up attempting, he almost killed one, but he killed one and almost killed another. And all he got was roughed up a little bit. Did he comply? No. Did he resist? Oh, definitely, most likely. And in the process, he shot one and killed another. And he's still breathing. Us, we wouldn't even get the opportunity to get that damn far. It might be some exceptions, but it's definitely not the rule. What this guy did, what this Timothy Kennedy guy did, that happens more often than they want to say, which is probably why they underreport these type of stories. Because they got to keep the narrative spinning that it's black people that are always resisting. It is black people that aren't complying, that we just can't get along with the police. They have to keep that in motion when the true narrative is the story I just read to you right here. Remember last year, it was so many stories like this coming out, like standoffs, hours long standoffs that were occurring around the establishment, that were occurring. but they underreport it or don't report it. But if it was a black person, then you'll have the usual suspects saying, oh, hashtag BLM, where's BLM? Then you'll have the co-colonizing cohorts doing the same exact thing if the story blows up. And these are the same ones that like to say, oh, the cops kill white people more than they kill black people. We would never know because you underreport that too. And when we do get wind of it and talk about it, you try to use the same thing, the same talking point on them as you do with other black people. It's the weirdest paradigm. When you do enough of these commentaries, you start to see certain patterns in talking points. They all sound the same. They all sound very scripted. It's like we know exactly what they're going to say before they say it, because nothing they say is surprising or shocking. Not in the most remote way. Here's a thought. If lamestream media actually talked about these type of stories the way I talk about them, or anyone else in the new black media talk about them, we wouldn't have to talk about this. We would just find something else to dwell on. But the fact that they don't, that's why I'm choosing to do so. And notice I said I'm choosing to do so because honestly, I could have just let this bypass and chalked it up to as, oh, this is white on white crime. And that's another thing that they don't like to talk about either, is how high proximity crime is. Notice what I said, proximity crime is amongst them. They like, oh, the so-called black on black crime rate or whatever is so high in the black community. But if you looked at the stats, if ours, like hypothetically saying, play devil's advocate and said that it is high, it ain't much higher than theirs. Whenever they pull up that crime stat, they love to go right into that murder homicide one, because that's the only stat where black people lead. And it's not even by a huge margin. It's not even up by 10%. But they make it seem like it's so astronomically big. But then when you look at all the other stats, they lead everywhere else. But they hold that murder and homicide one up there. And then, of course, they'll bring up Chicago. Then they'll bring up Baltimore or any area that has a black enclave there, seemingly. Who's to say that it's just black people that's doing that? I keep telling you about them phantom killings that be happening in Chicago. But let's talk about these ones that happen in these rural areas, like in this place. I never even heard of a Mingo County, West Virginia. The only part of West Virginia I'm familiar with is Charleston. And the only reason I know about that is because of the casino out there. That's it. But let's talk about these rural areas where it's basically white enclaves, where a lot of those crimes happen at too. But they don't, again, they don't talk about it, or they underreport it and try to chalk it up. Oh, it just doesn't happen. That is a bold-faced lie. And how do I know? Because I get sent so many stories damn near every week highlighting this in this same kind of format. I actually got sent another story that y'all will probably be seeing soon. Another Operation Protect the White Boy. I don't think it ended as tragic as this, but the way that it's set up, they underreported that too. That's why a lot of people are like, wow, I didn't even know this happened. Of course you didn't, because mainstream media didn't talk about it, and they weren't going to talk about it. That's the thing. They had no plans on discussing it. But I guess, I'm a toot my own horn when I say this. Thank God for me, right?